One. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Giga Geeks podcast. I am your host, the GigaGamerDad, and with me tonight I have DC the Trash Panda. How are you tonight?
I'm alive today. I'm
I
alive
mean,
this
that's
week.
that's what a lot of us can hope for, right?
Yeah, I've just been dealing with allergies and I'm over it.
I my wife and I are getting over a cold that my kids gave us here a little bit ago, because I'm sure my little girl brought it home from school and then gave it to my son, and because my son can't sleep through the night, he gave it to everybody else.
Oh yeah.
So, a
Usually
little
how
bit
it
of housekeeping. I got a brand new Xbox, the new 2 terabyte Galaxy Edition. And I have to tell you that I am actually pleasantly surprised. I was doing a little bit of research underneath, looking at it. Apparently, they redid a lot of like the cooling interior. So it's not just the vapor chamber. They have like vapor tubes and everything, and it kind of makes the heating or the cooling of it a little better. They shrunk down a few of the chipsets in it to make it um make it so it cools faster, obviously. But as far as like
Wait, so it
minor
what
tweaks,
faster?
well, they shrunk down a lot of like the big chipsets inside, like the CPU and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They shrunk them down into a smaller form factor, so the whole like internal workings are now it cools better than the old Series X, which is nice, and that allows it to hit peak performances a little better because
Huh.
hot equipment doesn't work as well as it should.
So then is now a good time to get the new Xbox? Like, well, not new, but to get the Series X?
If you don't have a Series X now, you have two options. Obviously, you have the Series S and the Series X. Well, it would depend on what you're doing with both. The Series S is more of like a casual system. So if you want a game but it's not your main hobby, you know what I mean? It If you just want something to perform well enough for you to play a game when you want to sit down, the Series S is perfect. They have a 1 terabyte coming out for the Series
Oh,
S, which is nice because the biggest complaint about the original Series S was it was only 500 gigs, so it didn't have a lot of space.
no.
Um,
Well, even
and
mine
now,
now.
well, I mean, the Series X had 1 terabyte, and that's even not enough space sometimes. Like Call of Duty takes up what 300 gigs by itself.
732.
I know. I
732.
with with my new Series X with the two terabytes, I still have the 1 terabyte card on the back, so I have a total of 3 terabytes, and I put Call of Duty on just that solo terabyte that's off in the wind because it does. Gaming has gotten a lot bigger. Like it takes up a lot more space. I remember when you'd install a PC game and it was 25 megabytes.
Oh,
You're like, this
good
is huge.
times. This game is ginormous.
Exactly. And so the it really depends what you want to do. Series S, if you're just a casual gamer, you play only 1 or 2 games, perfect. If you are a more hardcore gamer, you have two choices. You can go with the 1 terabyte normal edition Series X, the one that came out in 2020. They have an all white version coming out that is just digital. I think it's also a terabyte. Don't quote me on that. And the Galaxy edition is which is what I just got. Unboxed it yesterday. 2 terabytes.
Oh,
And like most
Jesus.
most most refreshes, they change a little bit of the interiors. Like Steam Deck did it, PlayStation's doing it now, but PlayStation's just like bending over their customers with their pricing, which is ridiculous. But why are you
But
looking to upgrade?
yeah, I need to. I really do. I'm so tired of Greg constantly being like, "Oh, I found this game that we can play," and I can't play it.
Mm.
And then it's like 6 months, 9 months down the road, it then comes out for the Xbox One. In which case, he's already done it over it. It's just
Yeah.
it's hard when
It,
that's the only way that you can spend like time with your significant other.
I mean, you and I haven't played games together yet, but I think it would be a lot easier once you upgrade, because I know you liked what is it, Lightyear Frontier, right?
I did. I loved it, but it's not
And
going to come out.
Lightyear Frontier was only streamable to the previous gens on Game Pass, and then that stopped because
Yeah,
the push
I
now
can't
is to
play it.
try and go straight to the current gens. Like they're finally starting to leave stuff in the back in the back and move forward.
Yeah.
Because I love Lightyear Frontier, and they just added the update for stuff, and it allows more things. It allows more players to do cool things, and if you can't access it, then what's the point?
Yeah, and the other hardest part for me too is like when Greg and I are playing like Fortnite, for perfect example. He's already jumped by the time I load in
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
so far behind, and it's just I hate it. And so yeah, I've been, especially now that I've been streaming a lot more, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
it's time.
Yeah. If when you can, I would make the jump, and it sounds like you're more into a Series X kind of situation where
Well,
you're going to be
yeah.
playing it a lot more than the typical person.
Oh yeah. No, that's all I do. I go to
So
work, I come home, and I play video games.
exactly, like that's what a lot of us like to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna welcome Liam Patton to the stage. I didn't think he was gonna make it tonight. I'm glad he did. Let's have a warm
Yay!
welcome for Liam.
Hello.
What
Whoop,
up,
whoop,
Liam?
whoop.
How are you?
Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm glad you made it. I was worried that
I'm
you
doing
were
well.
not gonna make it.
I'm very happy.
So how are you today? We were just
I'm
talking
doing-
about the
His
fact that I
new
just got a new
baby.
Xbox. Yeah.
You just got a new Xbox? Oh, is it the
The
Did you get the
sparkly
X?
one.
I
Oh,
mean
you got the Galaxy one we were talking about.
I've got the Galaxy one. Yeah, I got the 2 terabyte, and I was telling Panda how like gaming has just gotten bigger over the years. So there's a lot more people and a
Yeah.
lot more bigger games, and the issue is that like the space is just not enough anymore.
500 gigabytes.
Well, we were talking about Call of Duty. It is 700 gigs.
100.
700 gigs.
732.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It took
that's
me
more
like
than I need.
a day and a half.
I'm a Minecraft and Terraria player. I'm not
Ooh. See, that's what I really, really want is Terraria. I have a lot of people telling me that I need to play it.
You've never played Terraria? You've activated my trap card. All right,
Don't
where are
Oh,
you?
yell
Jesus
at
Christ.
me.
Should I just go and like
I'm
No,
just a
dude.
let you
baby.
talk about Terraria?
Terraria. I have so many hours in Terraria that I am ashamed to explain it. And it's less than 1 gigabyte.
I mean,
The
I
game
just
is
hit 50 days in Starfield.
Yeah, man.
Oh
I'm
my
on like
God.
76 days on Terraria on just Xbox X.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even think I've hit double digits on any game for days.
Ah,
Okay, no, I take that back. Call of Duty, I put some work in.
what?
Stardew Valley, I've probably put a lot of work in. I think I'm on year 4 of winter. Is my biggest one.
I haven't played Stardew Valley since my wife and I were in a 1-bedroom apartment, because I had it for my Switch, and
That's the only reason why I bought a Switch.
I played it in bed because she would get mad at me for not like coming to bed with her,
Mhm.
and I'm like, well, I'm just not tired because this is not who I am. I'm a night owl. Like I need to be doing something. So I'd sit there in bed while she fell asleep, and I'd be playing Stardew Valley. And then
Hell yes.
once she was finally snoring, I would sneak off into the living room and play Jurassic World Evolution, because that came
That
out at the
is
time.
Oh my
that is what it's
gosh.
at. That's where we're at. That's what's
And
going on.
now we're at a point where I'm tired. I'm going to bed. All right, bye. I'm just gonna go downstairs and play Xbox, and then wait for my son to wake up, like a maniac.
Yeah. It's all Greg's fault that I got into Stardew.
I'm a big fan of like these kind of more peaceful games. I know there's like combat in Stardew Valley, but you don't have to touch combat if you don't want to. You know? And I liked like Lightyear Frontier. I know we were talking about that earlier. I liked it because it is literally just a farming game.
I know, but it was so much fun. I loved it. Just like running around in a little mech and then just like floating off randomly.
Oh yeah, or like toppling over on the hill and you're like, I didn't know I
Oh
could
my
flip a
God.
mech.
Yeah, you just kind of like floating along and then just like you just barely clip a rock. There you go.
They added more farm animals. That's what the update was. They added tons of farm animals, more crops, things to do, more things to build. Like I now that I have 3 terabytes to play with, I may just install it again and like leave it on my hard drive. Because why not?
Must be nice. I can't even play the demo anymore.
Oh, that's rough.
It just like doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, once you get the Series X, like it's on Game Pass, so you can jump back into it.
I know. I'm having more reasons to get it than to not.
Yeah, my issue is I'm a huge technophile, so I always have to jump for the newest.
Yeah. I'm tired of not being able to play new games with Greg. That's my biggest thing. I just want to be able to play video games with my significant other. Because it sucks not being able to.
Well, then you'd finally be able to jump into other things like Baldur's Gate.
Oh God.
Baldur's Gate is fun.
I don't want to hate myself that much.
It is sitting on my hard drive. I've played it on my PC for maybe like 30, 40 hours, but I have not. Like, I want to see it on the big screen. I want to see it on my 75-inch that's sitting right here, you know? And get with Karlak, my girl.
Karlak!
I love Karlak.
I
feel like I'm missing something here.
You are.
Get there. You're absolutely. That is the case. That is the case.
That thing my demon
Karlak.
princess. I love her.
I'll just sit here and look pretty then.
She's not a demon princess. She hates demons.
I know she hates demons, but she looks like one, and that's badass.
It is. I wish that my moral compass and my attraction compass pointed in the same direction, but the tiefling thing is like all the way there for me. So,
well, I mean, I'm also like gonna get, despite all the stupid uproar about Dragon Age, I've played all the Dragon Ages, so I will still be getting the new one. And I forgot, like, the tiefling is a type of class in that too, right? A race. I can't remember what they're called. Regardless, I'm getting it.
I'm a complete Luddite.
I need to scratch that fantasy itch. I've been playing sci-fi stuff like Space Marine 2, Starfield. Like, I've just been diving into anything sci-fi lately.
Hell yes.
And I've been thinking about going back into Skyrim.
Oh.
But that's another life sink in itself.
If my wife catches me playing an Elder Scrolls game, I'm going to get a lore dump and a history lecture, and I'm excited. I mean, she knows everything in the lore, not everything.
Well, I mean, I can't wait for Fallout Season 2 to come out so I can dive back into that again.
Oh my
gosh. I did that before it came out. I played Fallout 4 for like a month.
Fallout, the first episode of Fallout, if you've seen the whole series and you've like played a bunch of Fallout, that first episode may be one of the greatest masterpieces in television history.
I absolutely loved it, and my biggest thing about it was I had my wife watch it with me, and I'm very thankful for her because she is not a gamer. She watched it because I wanted to and I needed to, and I kept looking over here like, oh my god, that's the sound of the stim pack. It makes the sound. I was like, all the little bits like that. I'm like, oh my god. And she's like,
I know.
I don't care.
Like, you see a can You see a can of cram sitting on the ground, and you go, "That's cram!" And she's like, "What?
That's
Whatever."
crap. What is that? It's a spam-alike.
You eat it.
Really, what it is?
You eat
Or
it
the
when someone
Blamco
shoots
mac
you with
and
a
cheese.
bullet.
What?
God, I love that show.
Sugar bomb cereal sitting on a shelf, and it's like, yeah, I've fixed 9mm bullet wounds with that before.
And it's funny because I was just listening to the news about Amazon in general and with their woke bullshit going on. And I hate talking about it, but the reason why I brought it up is because my Lord and Savior Henry Cavill. I love that man. I really do. I do bad things to him.
What?
Oh my god.
Henry Cavill has kind of quietly stepped away from the Warhammer project, and the reason why is because in Warhammer there is a really prestigious guard called the Custodes. They're basically the custodians. They guard the Emperor, and it's Henry Cavill's baby. Like that's the miniatures he plays on the tabletop. And the issue being is that all Space Marines in the Warhammer universe have always been male. And Amazon basically said, no, you're going to have a female in this, and went to Games Workshop, and Games Workshop quietly added it into the recent codex.
Meanwhile,
And Henry Cavill's like, yeah, the lore god that he is about things.
Cavill, who has hand painted potentially hundreds of,
I'm sure he has a full regiment.
Who has hand painted potentially hundreds of miniatures and plays with them like competitively with other people. He's like, oh, so a project that I've been involved in is now actively messing with the thing that I started it to support.
And that's the big issue in like the media industry in the first place. I've had this conversation with somebody before. I'm like, I understand that people want representation. I'm all for it. Like, go for it. Let's bring representation in. However, in established IPs such as Warhammer or Star Wars, do not mess with the lore. Like, the lore has been around for decades at this point. The moment you start going into the lore, the moment that you're going to start losing a huge population of your fan base.
Well, look at what happened with Star Wars and what was the new show that just came out?
The Acolyte.
Yeah.
I can actually argue that the Force-born Jedi have been a thing in the past.
Yeah,
like a lot of people don't realize that there's a whole expanded universe beyond the movies that exist. And that's the thing with Warhammer is like there's so much lore that to change one tiny thing like this, now you're upsetting everything.
It's like a spider web. If you pull on one string, you're messing a lot more than just one thing up.
Yeah.
I have a very, very, very solid and very logically consistent explanation for why I don't think that focusing on representation is a valuable thing in gaming at all. And it's because the story and the hero's journey of the characters is what matters. And what the audience should relate to is a character who learns from their mistakes and grows. And instead, it has become about, I look the same as this character, or I sound the same with my voice as this character, when the one thing that people used to agree on is I would also shoot the bad guy.
Yeah.
People should agree on the point of the story and not on who's doing it.
My thing is you can have these gay, straight, lesbian characters and have a good story. The story needs to come first. Everything else is secondary, you know?
I don't care what you like.
Exactly. The issue is that they're putting sexuality or a political agenda up front and the story on the back burner. And then the story suffers and then everything suffers because we're focused on, oh, they like so-and-so. I'm trying to bring down a regime here.
A lot of the time, it's like, I don't care if you like dudes or women. If you're thinking about sex while we're trying to fight an evil army right now, what are you talking about?
I know.
No, I do. Believe me, I'm not casting stones at somebody. I think about it more when I'm in combat than when I'm in anything else. But I'm just saying, if we're focusing on who likes who instead of, hey, they're burning a village down. We're messing something up here.
And that's why I think Baldur's Gate did a good job in it, because
love
I
Baldur's Gate.
think the relationships were a secondary feature. Like if you wanted to rush it and go into the bare sex scene, you can, but like it didn't matter who you played as. You can swing either way, but your whole goal is to try and fight this eldritch god. You know
That's
what I
the thing I
mean?
liked so much about Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
because
Cyberpunk did it really well as well.
They have characters, like if you want to go an LGBT route, they have an option.
Mhm.
If you want to go
Yeah.
straight route, they have an option. But those
Yep.
characters won't swing. Those characters are who they are. And so that character isn't mutable just because of the player's feelings. It's a character who is themselves, whether or not you are them.
What's that
And that's
guy's
real
name that was
representation.
in? What's
That's-
that guy's name that is in Silverhand's band? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. Carrie
Carrie.
Eurodyne. And that's the thing, is that the characters,
I liked Carrie.
as soon as someone's identity, call it race, sex, sexuality, as soon as someone's identity becomes mutable, as soon as it becomes something that changes based on the situation, it stops being something that is an anchor of them. It stops being, like, it's like if Master Chief is just hanging out with any AI, his relationship with Cortana becomes meaningless.
Well, I mean, if we look back in the past at some video games, like there's always been kind of a representation in video games. Like there has been gay characters in the past, there has been trans characters in the past, but the issue is they didn't make a big deal of it.
It's more about just pushing agenda now.
Yeah. And
not just like, oh yeah, hey, like
unfortunately,
sprinkle that in there.
If they want to push, if companies want to push an agenda, then games aren't going to sell, because
nobody wants to play propaganda. No.
They're doing the same. Like these video game companies are doing the same thing Amazon wants to do to the Warhammer series, and what Netflix did to The Witcher.
People just underestimate the fact that a gamer that
Henry Cavill walked off because they wanted to destroy the lore of The Witcher.
Okay.
It's basically.
I knew that, but I don't remember specifics.
Well, Netflix also tried to blame Henry Cavill about being unruly, and his fellow actors came out and said, that's a lie.
Also, is it not perfectly within the context of being a nerd and being a Witcher fan and being generally someone who's upstanding to not follow rules when they're stupid rules?
Oh, for sure.
Is that not like
weird?
Totally like, hey, you're doing something dumb. There's a horrible monster in the woods over there, and it's kidnapping and eating people. I'm gonna go kill the monster, whether I'm allowed to or not. That's and they're like, he's not following the rules. It's like, yes, that's the
point.
That's why we're here.
And it goes to show that these people that are trying to start these projects have no respect for the IP that they're trying to adapt. Because I'm sure Netflix was like, oh, The Witcher's really popular. Maybe we should do a TV show. Amazon's doing the same thing. I'm surprised the Fallout show came out as really good as it did. And it's because
Fallout
they worked actually with
like Mike Tyson.
It worked because they went with the game. Like Bethesda had a hand in it. Bethesda was like, no, this is the lore. This is what you're going to do. And they were like, okay. But the moment somebody like Cavill comes out and says, I'm not going to stand by this project if you're not going to respect the lore that has spent decades being built.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Flame Fear. That's exactly what we do. That's exactly what I do. He says,
happened?
clearly we fucked the evil army.
Evil army.
And he goes, I'll eat the monster for eating people. And I'm like, yes, we are on the same. What kind of loot does it drop? What does the man-eating monster taste like when you grill it? Like,
I'll bring the spit, man. Like, that's not a javelin on my horse. That's a spit that we're setting over the fire when we're done.
I'm bringing Old Bay and lemon for the dragon. Let's get this done.
It's like that Netflix show. What is it? They have an anime on Netflix where they eat everything. What is it? God, it's gonna
There was
kill me
a
now because
old
it's on my
cartoon called
list.
3 Delivery that was kind of like that. It was great.
Yeah,
It was
I'm
they had a
very big
magic
into it.
system. They had a magic system, but it was all
The
the
Hawking
magic was
tool.
recipes. So it was fantastic.
I think it's called Delicious Dungeon or something like that.
A cooking
Oh.
show set
I
in
know
a
which one you're
fantasy
talking about.
universe sounds
You know which one I'm
amazing.
talking about?
My sister, I think that's what it is.
I really want to watch it because I'm like, I'll watch people eat stuff. I mean, I do that
I actually
now.
wrote a
Dude, that's
Oh,
the only thing that I would do to quote unquote sell myself.
eat
Eat stuff.
yeah.
Oh, I'll throw down
Um,
on some food like, oh, you want to pay me $50 to eat that? Done. Let's
so,
go.
yeah. My
Let's make Greg cook everything.
I'm very grateful for my Italian wife that knows how to cook. She made dinner last night. We have like these turkey pot pies. Well, she made me
Ooh.
one to feed 6. It would have fed 6 if there was 6.
I
here.
know I was about to say it. I was gonna say it, but I didn't say it. I'm being
With,
nuts.
Oh yeah, I ate the whole thing. Dark meat turkey pot pie. Fuck
Oh
yeah,
my
that
gosh,
thing's
sign
going
me up.
down, baby. I
Sign me up.
would have
My,
ate it out of the tin if I didn't have to share with my son.
Shaggy and
Oh, yeah.
Scooby moment. Oh,
when I was with my ex-husband, we went out to sushi one night and I had
There it is, delicious in dungeon. Found it. Yeah.
yes.
Thank you, Furno.
We had, let's see, I had 3 appetizers and I got the 50-piece boat on top of eating 4 pieces of his sushi, and then I had 2 more rolls for myself. And then I had like 4 different orders of mochi ice cream. And I ate it all. I throw down on food.
We had B-dubs delivered the other night because we're lazy parents. We need food delivered.
Oh yeah.
We're not lazy. We're just tired. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And Jordan's like, "Oh, what do you want?" I'm like, "Well, cheese curds because cheese."
Oh.
And then
jeez.
she's like, "You want wings?" I was like, "Yeah, we're going to B-dubs." Like, of course I want wings. She's like, "Is 15 too many?" I'm like, "Huh?
Is 15 too
Woman.
many?
15?
Woman.
I get,
15.
how many flavors do I get?"
Pounds, no.
Yeah, she was like,
I totally got McDonald's.
you can get 3 different flavors. I was like, cool. Get me I like the dry rubs. I like dry rubs because I don't like to get my hands too dirty.
I agree.
And
Don't
all
get
the
me
like
going about dirty hands.
barbecue sauce and stuff just hang to this beard, man.
I just shaved
Just
my
barbecue
whole
sauce?
face.
I have shaved my whole face because there was barbecue sauce in it before. It was
No, I
not fun.
just as in just now today shaved all my mustache and beard off.
Look at
I
both of
trimmed
you
up my beard.
shaving.
I went from
I
20
trimmed up
I
all
went
of
from
this.
27 years old to 20 years old in one trim just now. Hilarious.
Now I look like a gay Porkins.
I look like I can't even say that. I cannot say that on the stream. I was okay. What was I talking about? Oh, I wanted to. As soon as you mentioned the fantasy cooking, it reminded me of a character that I wrote that I just adore. It's Jekyll the Friendly Hydra, and it's a Hydra that runs a bar. He runs a tavern.
Oh, that's
and
neat.
His heads are all the waiters, and he's also the master of ceremonies for the band, and he's the cook. And the cheapest meat on the menu is he cuts his own head off and sears it up perfect in this super, super cheap but perfectly cooked steak. And
I want to try that.
It sounds like I just think he's a hilarious character.
Hydra
I'm
steaks sound
disturbed
good.
that I'm intrigued.
But
what we talked about this here, mate. I don't know when, but we talked about game food and like what game food looked the best, right?
Oh yeah,
Was that with you?
Yeah, I was talking about how in Dust,
like food in games.
Yeah,
Yes.
like there's some games where they put like a lot of effort in like the look and dish of their meal, and like I was talking, I think it was our Starfield episode with he who shall not be named, and because I was talking about how much how good and delicious the food in Starfield looked.
I just want the chunks.
Chunks,
The
yeah,
chunks.
I just
yeah.
want the chunks.
They have a DLC now that, or not DLC, but they have a Creation Club content where you get to own your own Chunks restaurant.
That's ridiculous. Where do I sign?
You just gotta go to the Creation Club, man. It's verified. Like I'm like,
Hell
oh,
yeah.
that's cool. I could be an entrepreneur.
I just
Sell
want
chunks.
the burger from Terraria.
Mhm.
And then they have a Chunks minigun where you can shoot chunks out of it.
That's.
What?
I want to get off Mr. Bones' wild ride.
See, now you got me thinking, like, what games have I played that actually have food in them other than Fallout? Because
Well,
Oh
yeah,
my
I mean,
gosh. All right. This is
you
the
don't get
most
to really
offensive-
see the
Monster
food in
Hunter.
Fallout.
This is
Monster
the most
Hunter has really
controversial
good
question
food.
we'll ever have. What's your favorite food item in Fallout?
Mine?
And if you say
I
crispy
couldn't-
iguana bits, I am gonna cause a problem.
Nah, I'm a big
What
fan
is
of Deathclaw steaks.
Deathclaw steaks.
I
like
hunt,
that
I
See,
hunt
grilled
so
I've-
many
rag.
of those bastards. I might as well eat them too.
Yeah,
I like the
I haven't
grilled
really
rag
played
stag.
much of.
Red stag gives you that carry
Yeah,
bonus.
I was gonna say that gives you like what, plus 25.
Well, it gets
that
my
comes
fat
in
ass
clutch.
out of a dungeon because I can't fast travel when I'm fat. So I gotta eat more food, get more fat, and then fast travel. It's great.
Sounds like a plan. See, and I haven't really played much of Fallout. I've seen a lot of it played, but
Mhm.
I barely just did 76 recently. And
Mm.
I struggle a lot with that game. And so then I would play it with Greg. And then it was like easy peasy skating through it. And then I try to play it by myself and I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, you're playing. I don't want to say an inferior Fallout because the
I
Fallout
will.
76, like most, has its fan base, and I respect them.
I
But if
only
you're
got
gonna
it
play
because
a
of
Fallout
multiplayer
game,
though.
if you're gonna play a Fallout game, you need to play 4.
Yes.
See, and that's
4
I
is
know.
good. You like the crafting bit of shit too. I'm sure you like to build settlements, or you would play.
See, and that's
I
all
play
I've done on
Fallout 4
76.
Sims. I play Fallout 4 Sims.
Sims.
So I have a really. This opinion pisses off Fallout players and the Elder Scrolls players, and I'll die on the hill happily. So, hot take moment. Skyrim and
That's what
Fallout
we're here
4.
for.
Skyrim and Fallout 4 are the best games in their respective series, and I can explain it very, very thoroughly because
Mhm.
lore-wise, they're not. Story-wise, they're not. Mechanics-wise, they're not. But guess what? They're the most playable, and they're the most
Yeah.
opportune way to get a new player into the series. So if I'm going to introduce somebody to
Oh, yeah.
Fallout, I'm going, all right, you're going to get in a cryopod, you're going to watch a bald dude shoot your wife, and then you're going to go kill everything in the Commonwealth. That's what we're doing. That's what's happening right now.
That
You're gonna get
basically
in
sums that
power
right
armor,
up.
You're going to get a minigun, and you're going to make the Commonwealth wish that you had stayed frozen. And people are going to fall in love with the Fallout universe, and then they're going to go play the other Fallouts. But if I start somebody on New Vegas, and they're used to Halo 5, they're going to start
They're
playing New
not gonna
Vegas
like
and
it.
go, oh, Fallout sucks,
Yeah.
and never touch it again. And so,
Because
like,
New Vegas is more narratively driven.
New Vegas, objectively, is a better game than Fallout 4.
Yeah,
But it's
I
not
agree.
fun for a first Fallout game.
That's it. Like, and it's just like Oblivion for the Elder Scrolls.
Exactly.
Like Oblivion was a great game, especially for the time it came out. It came out on the 360, and it was a 360 exclusive. But if you're gonna go back and play it now, Skyrim had a better combat system. It had I arguably better mechanics.
Yeah.
And the menu system alone easier to manage. Because
And
if you go into the skills of Oblivion, you had to go through menus. At least with Skyrim, you press Y and then you look up on whatever, and then you're there.
There's something that has to be said. And as a writer, as a storyteller, this absolutely kicks me in the nuts. But as someone who's rational and like understands the situation, it has to be said. If a game isn't fun, the game isn't good.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with a lot of stuff in the
Fallout
game industry
4
right now.
and Skyrim are the most fun games in the series. They're not the best, but they are the most fun, and that's what makes them the best.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Like if I'm gonna go back to play one of the series, Fallout 4 and Skyrim are the two I'm thinking of.
I have the most absurd Fallout 4 strategy. If you want to have the most fun while feeling the least intelligent,
The least
same time,
intelligent.
I have the best possible build for you in the world, and I have it memorized, tattooed into my brain. You can get permanent 13 strength before you complete any main quests, and you can get the Furious Power Fist, the strongest melee weapon in the entire game, and 13 strength, and have spare skill points and stats for other things literally before you even encounter Codsworth.
Mm.
And it's the stupidest you will ever feel in your life, and you will love it from start to finish. In the oh man, I like Fallout because it lets you be an idiot. I like Fallout because it lets you do stuff that just doesn't make any sense in real life.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah.
well, that's the beauty of most of Bethesda games in the first place.
They understand the assignment, and it's fantasy. It's to have fun in ways that are not realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you could become the first astronaut in space in Skyrim if you go talk to a giant.
It took me a second. It took me a second. I had to think about it.
What do you know? And your horse is definitely a mountain gecko because it just goes straight up that.
Straight up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that also led to a discussion where most Bethesda fans. I'm a huge Bethesda fan, if you couldn't tell. Mostly a Starfield fan. Anyways, the discussion among BGS fans were, which world would you want to be in, Fallout or Skyrim?
Skyrim.
Oh man, Fallout.
No, I don't.
If
something were to, so for me, prospectively, if something were to happen where I actually live, I would be living Fallout. I don't want to.
It depends 100% on whether or not I get to use the powers outlined in the Bible as much as the Daedric priests get to use the powers outlined by the Daedric princes. Because if I get to show up and start using like biblical miracles, just like they use Daedric miracles, I'm absolutely going to Skyrim immediately. I'm going straight there, and it's going to be crazy.
I mean,
see,
you have little faith. Guy. I bet it could happen.
I'm doing it.
I was a Fallout guy. Like I like the scientific elements. I like the power armor. I like the power fantasy. I like shooting something in the face. Like that was me. However, most BGS fans also play both. Like, but you're gonna have a preference.
I'm going Fallout just for Piper and Curie. Hate me all you want.
I like.
They hated him for he spoke
Kate.
the truth.
I like Kate.
Kate's good.
But now I'm more of a Starfield guy. Like I've always been more into sci-fi than I have fantasy. But I don't know how well Starfield's going to do after this game because a lot of people did not like it.
My wife and I were laughing our asses off calling Starfield the Elder Scrolls 40K.
Oh my god.
I mean, why not?
The more you think about it, the less possible it is to refute. And I love it.
So on a side note, I have a couple people in chat for me. So Focused said, I love Fallout 3, played it so many times they cater to the casuals. And then Fallout 4 is for him is more than Skyrim. Starfield equals low padding screen simulator.
Loading screen simulator.
I was like, low padding?
If you go play Fallout and Skyrim, you will get the same kind of loading screens.
All video games. No, there's one game.
Wild.
Believe it or not, a lot of loading screens in video games now are hidden behind a cinematic.
Or a cinematic, yeah.
Think for an instance, if any of you guys played Jedi Survivor, there were scenes where you're crawling through like a vent sideways, or you're going through like a small chasm and you're going sideways. That is a tool game designers use to load in the next area, because it slows you down enough for the processor to make everything up.
Listen to the cooling fan on your machine whenever you're walking through a crack in a wall.
Mhm.
You'll know exactly what's going on. You'll know
Well,
what's going on real quick.
Well, before I left the Marine Corps, I started my degree in game design. I never finished it, but there's a lot I learned in it, and that's one of the tools that they use. Like the issue a lot of people have right now are they all think that there's no loading in these open world games, and that's where they're wrong.
There's
It's
tons
just
of it.
it's just smart. It's done smarter. And Starfield, like when I'm playing it, I love the hell out of it, and I'll tell you what. Loading screens don't bother me one bit because I'm in and out of them in seconds.
Must be nice.
Okay. I am at a loading screen to someone who's like a impatient person
Which is most of today's audience, because they're all
I
young
totally-
and have never experienced them.
I get
Never
it.
had dial up.
If you like take a moment and just assess the situation, a thing you dislike is a thing you could like given the right mindset. And I'll put it real simple. You call them loading screens. I call them handful of junk food in my mouth screens.
I was about to say
Dude,
that's
Jody.
me shoving my face full of Cheetos or something. Like
I call
gives
them
me a minute.
That's why I don't mind dying all the time.
booting up Subnautica. You mean going and taking a piss really quick and coming back and then playing Subnautica. That's what I'm talking about.
Or waiting for a turn to happen in Civilization.
Yeah,
I'm on turn 436 and it's started. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah, if you play a turn-based game.
I'll wait 10 minutes before I come back.
A turn-based game can't outrun you, so just get up.
Exactly.
Like slow things that slow people down. Like people misuse the time. It's like I don't have enough free time. It's like you have a bunch of loading screens. Get some stuff done.
I mean, Cyberpunk had loading screens, and people don't realize that when they'd walk into a room and they would have a cinematic play. That's
a loading screen.
That's them setting up the next area because you're about to kill everything in sight. One mission that comes to mind is the one where you go talk to Maelstrom with where you have to go get the hammerhead,
the flathead.
and the flathead, whatever it is. That was a loading screen. You're sitting there, they make you sit down, they make you talk. Like, yeah, as much as you want to try and like fight through it.
What?
They're forcing you.
I kill those people every
sit.
time I get in there. There is no loading screen there. I guarantee it.
You can, but now you have to go through. You have to find the switch, whatever. Like the game is loading.
Oh yeah, it does slow you a bit down. That makes sense.
The issue is that the people that want to complain about video games don't know how they're made. They don't understand that games are hard to make.
It would be very easy to expand that exact rumination to most of life.
Well,
It's
Exactly.
usually the people complaining who are also the ones you can reliably go, you probably don't know very much about how this works at all.
Well, it's just like saying, I'm definitely not a car guy, but I'm not going to go to my mechanic saying, this is what's wrong. And he's going to check and be like, you're a fucking idiot.
I am best friends with a mechanic. I can confirm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to go in there and be like, hey, I don't know what's wrong. This is what it's doing. They're going to be like, okay, cool. I'll look at it and then tell you what's wrong. Well, video games are very much the same way. You as a player can be like, I don't like this. This feels wrong to me. But the game designer probably has a logical explanation for why it is the way it is.
And there's often a good chance that's the best they could do with what was available.
I mean, you have to think BGS is working on their own engine that they've had for decades. Yeah, it sucks that they're working on old stuff, but are you going to pay them to upgrade?
My wife showed me something hilarious one time. It was a Twitter post, and it was BGS saying The Elder Scrolls 6 is now in a playable state, and the first comment is The Elder Scrolls 6 is the first Bethesda game to be in a playable state.
Well, I got to call out Focused here for a second. I just explained this. To be fair, talking about hiding loading screens, Starfield doesn't hide them very well, and they happen a lot. Yeah, because they're working on an engine that's a decade old. Did you not hear
Yes.
that? Like, you're
The,
not going to get something new out of the same engine. They're utilizing the same engine that they made Skyrim out of and Fallout out of. And you know
That's why
what?
I'm so excited for.
I'm an older gamer. I'm 33. I don't care
No.
because gameplay is king to me. All
I
these
grew up
people
on the
that want to
Wii.
argue are younger than I am. I mean, Liam, you're an old soul. That doesn't count.
You're an old soul. I don't even know how old Focused is.
But you know what I
Flame's a
mean? Like,
baby.
the people that want to complain have never experienced playing Pokemon on a Game Boy. They've never experienced having to wait for turns in Final Fantasy because they don't have turn-based systems in Final Fantasy anymore.
Something that
Like,
I've been wanting to mention this for a little bit. One of my
From a
favorite
consumer
games,
standpoint, though, it's all about experience and impressions.
and I do want to get
which
to
is
that.
fine.
I want to bring that in because I have a way to reconcile that really quick. I do fully understand the value of loading screens because, again,
Not
stuffing food in my mouth, standing up, yelling at my cat, stuff. There are reasons to enjoy loading screens, but it also does connect to the Skyrim and Fallout are the best games because fun is fun, and when anything interrupts that, it does kick the game a little bit. And something that I can absolutely, I have the perfect example. I decided to try Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and play one mission at 2 a.m. And
At
do you know
2
what
a.m.
happened to me?
you
I
died.
finished the game as the sun came up because there are no narratively interrupting loading screens in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So I started it and I was like, I'm just going to play one mission. And it's like 6 missions later, I have no idea. I'm literally like finishing the game crying because it's beautiful. And I look up at the sun coming out and I'm like, what the hell just happened to me?
I feel loading screens are a good way of being able to calculate your time.
They're a very good way of pacing yourself.
Because the issue with a lot of people want to be spoon-fed everything right now as quickly as possible, and I think it takes away
Instant
from the
gratification.
experience. Yeah, because I can play a whole day playing Cyberpunk and be like, I've done so fucking much. Like, what time is it? And you look at the time and you're like, oh Jesus, you know,
Oh no.
I just spent 10 hours playing this game when I could have gone and eaten lunch or
yeah, man,
done
I got
something
the
else.
best hardware. I got the best hardware on the market. I skip loading screens like crazy. I finish games before I even know it. I don't ever have to deal with loading screens. It is not connected at all that I have an eating disorder. It's like
my point being is that loading screens should not be what is considered and what is good and what is bad for a game.
By the way, this is coming from someone who has an eating disorder and a racehorse hardware.
Mm-hmm.
That joke is that joke. This isn't me just throwing stones.
It's more of a jab to
You
yourself.
need loading screens.
I knew where it was coming from. I just loading screens have always been part of my life. I'm not going to get mad if I see one.
No, they're great.
And it's all these people that want to complain about loading screens. Listen, then don't play video games. Like, what am I going to tell you? If you're complaining about something in a video game, then don't play it.
Oh my gosh, we went through that the other day playing Call of Duty. Someone was like, "Oh my god, I fucking hate this map. I hate that." Then leave the lobby. No one is making you stay for this match. Like, leave.
Well, that's part of all gaming, I feel, right now too.
Yeah.
The reason why I started this, we've been really negative on this podcast right now, is I wanted more positivity in gaming.
I'm having fun.
And
it's good.
I know I'm having a great time. I'm laughing. That's very positive.
It is
but
very.
The issue with a lot of like game reviewers and everything is they're always so quick to bash something, and I've gotten called out because I wear my passion on my sleeve. Gaming is my passion, and I have two friends I talk back and forth with, my uncle and another buddy, and they called me out before because I would die defending something, if I didn't like it, or I liked it. And you know what? It came to a point where I'm like, you know what? I should start going into the mindset. I will talk about something if I like it, but if the game is not for me, I'm just going to say it's not for me and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no point going into why I didn't like it. Maybe it just didn't vibe with me. Maybe I just couldn't get into it. And it's just the issue being like, somebody else is going to like that game. Why am I going to muck on their yum?
Yeah.
I have way too much autism to be that mature, but I do understand the perspective.
I mean, it's just like these people that want to that want to stay part of this console war. Like, why?
Yeah.
For instance,
I'm playing God of War on my PSP. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn on my Steam Deck. Like, all your games are coming to platforms I already own.
Yeah.
Do you not realize that the way of the future is everybody's going to be everywhere at some point? Xbox is already ahead of the game. They're sending their games over to PlayStation because you know what? Now there's more people buying their games. Everybody's like, "Oh, Xbox is dying."
Wild.
No, it's not. They're taking money from PlayStation players now to make the next one.
Anytime people mention that whole cross-plat thing, and there's always this sort of PC players. Would you believe I am in puberty right now at 24 years old? Anyways, PC players always have this comment of they're going to outflick or outkill console players in first-person shooters.
I can prove them
Versus,
wrong.
hold on, I can too. I'm getting to a punchline that you'll like.
Yeah.
Versus
okay.
people who make fun of each other for different frame rates, or people who have all these comments about
Mm.
controller ergonomics or whatever, yada yada yada, stupid stuff like that. As soon as somebody starts bragging to me that they're going to outflick me, I switch straight into big game hunter mode. I'm not even competitive. I'm not even getting into this like my console is better than your PC thing. I'm like, all right, you're bragging. Your head's going to be on my wall in 10 minutes. Let's go.
I'm the same way. Because I'm a console player primarily, and the reason why is because I'm a dad. I have kids. I have bills to pay. I don't have the extra money I used to be able to upgrade a PC all the time. Like my Dell
Yeah.
XPS is the most powerful PC I've ever had, but I don't play on it. I'd rather play on my Steam Deck where I can take it to work with me and catch up on games in my backlog. But when I'm at home, I'm on my Xbox because I can lean back in my big comfy sofa over here and play
Cuddle up with the bean.
Yeah, exactly. And play on a 75-inch and enjoy my night drinking.
Yeah, it's
You know?
the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about gaming is that if it's not a supplement to life, it is no life at all.
Mhm.
And when you use gaming to create a community and to have fun and to tell a story and to create value, and in the best game's sake, tell a morally valuable story, heroism, self-sacrifice, justice. You do things that are awesome. People play it and it's worth doing. But when a game is just like not fun, so it doesn't de-stress you, or it's really fun, but it's against assholes, so it just adds more stress to you.
I got a story for that.
It stops being worth playing. It stops being something of value.
Now I can argue that because there is a game that raises my blood pressure to a point where my watch is saying, "Hey, you may have a heart attack.
You're gonna die if you keep doing this.
Yeah,
whatever you're doing."
Somebody mentioned Sea of Thieves earlier in the chat.
Yeah,
and I want to bring that up because I absolutely love Sea of Thieves. And the only reason why I go in and out of playing it is because when I play it, my heart is pounding. The moment I see another ship on the horizon. No, because I generally play by myself. I'm a solo swooper. I go out there, I make millions by myself. But the moment I see another ship on the horizon, I used to be like, this is my gold. This is nobody else's. And it took me a long time to get to a point where if they sink me, it is what it is. But I used to be very, very like angry when people would come after me. So my heart would just explode out of my chest while I'm trying to run from people.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually something that's really worth mentioning, and I want to point it out because it's very valuable. And if I was to tell the average person, hey, video games can be good cardio, they'll be like,
Mhm.
you're an idiot, Liam. What are you talking about? What kind of nonsense are you
Oh,
telling
yeah.
me right now? But I promise you, the science is extremely conclusive. There are two kinds of stress.
What I don't tell everybody is that I like that feeling sometimes. The
It's
moment
so
that
good.
I'm in real danger, because
The
I've
blood
played
rush.
I've played Alien Isolation on Nightmare.
That
and
was the first thing I thought of. Alien
that was
Isolation
the
was the
only
first game I thought of.
that was the only other time that I've ever felt genuine fear playing a video game. With Sea of Thieves, it's real players because real players are unpredictable. In Alien
J-Rose.
Isolation on Nightmare, dude, that thing has no rules. It will come out of
J-Rose
a
just said
fucking wall.
R6 for
Rainbow Six
getting
Siege.
your yeah.
Running around in a hallway with nothing but a pistol and a shotgun in Rainbow Six Siege, I promise you, you get the same like feeling
No.
going on.
So everybody, like, I'm sure within
Well-
like, I know Giga knows, like everybody in that group that plays Rainbow together, there was one instance where they knew how to navigate me properly to get a headshot.
Yeah.
Because they have had to learn, like, don't yell at me because I panic shoot everything. I panic shot
Yeah.
my own claymore, which then I died.
Yeah.
And it was just the dumbest thing ever, but it was
Yeah.
hilarious at the same time because the next time I was stuck in a weird situation, they were like, "Kay, D, you got this." They're like smooth talking me, and then Geth goes, "Don't shoot yet." And I shot and I got the headshot, and I was like, it's like,
That's
Well,
hilarious.
I mean,
it's like
I
no.
know for a fact Blue Banana Bandit is a tryhard, and there's no reason to play with somebody that's a
No.
tryhard.
Based.
He is
Based.
not a try hard.
So
I'm
I
too old to like need to be competitive. Like I want to be competitive, but my fingers don't work that way anymore.
yeah,
Don't play that game with me.
I tried being competitive with GigaGamerDad the other day. I was like,
Oh,
yeah, I'll smoke you on
yeah.
Halo Wars 2. We got down.
Oh
We got
my
down. We started
gosh.
playing Halo Wars 2. And I feel no shame in saying that my friend here spanked me like a toddler immediately. And it was hilarious.
Oh,
Ooh.
and I haven't played in
Yeah, I know. Rub salt in the
years.
wound. Do it. You earned it. You win.
Well, you came in at level 18. Like
I did.
you're level
Talking-
58.
I was talking crazy shit. I was like, we can fight. We'll fight. I'll beat you. We fight.
I'm
How
like,
much do you
I'll
bench?
go
And you're like
random.
600 pounds. And I go,
I'm like, I'll
okay.
go random. I don't know who I'm gonna play as. Oh, this is a good character. You're fucked.
The way I phrased it, when I was telling my other friend about it is I said, I wrote a check that my ass had to cash.
Go
Or my
in,
mouth
buddy. I'm
wrote a
going
check.
in.
My mouth wrote a check that my ass had to cash, and I was like, you know what? I did this to myself.
And
but I
you
really
know
wanna
how I
get-
responded? I was like, "You better bite the pillow. I'm going in dry."
You better. All right, Liam. You talked a bunch of smack. It's time. Anyways, I really want to get to this cardio thing because it's actually really important. It's really good.
All right. What do you got? What do you got?
So, biologically, there are two kinds of stress. There's eustress and distress. And eustress is really, really, really good for you. And distress is really, really bad for you.
Is
And
that
it's-
the one where my dish is empty?
Where your dish. Nice. All right. Okay. Anyways, when someone flies
This is
around
a
the
food
corner,
episode.
it is a food episode. Anyways, when someone flies around the corner and jumps out in your face and there's a huge explosion, you get an adrenaline rush. That's eustress. It's a very, very rapid up, down. And when you can return back to that resting state afterwards, it's good. And because it's what it does is it gives your heart an extremely, extremely vigorous workout, but it doesn't damage it. It doesn't give you a stressful, like a distressing thing to your body. And so your cardiovascular system, just like an actual workout, when you lift really, really hard and then you spend the rest of your day relaxing, it's fantastic for you. Your cardiovascular system loves total panic moments with, being calm.
Mm.
And
You mean Panic Throw a Tomahawk? Got it.
yeah, yeah. And that's why one of my favorite games is Spider Heck. I don't know if anybody played Spider
Oh,
Heck.
I've played that one. That one's good.
And
What?
it'll make your
It's
veins
interesting.
itch. It'll make your veins itch all over your body because you're just absolutely sweating trying to kill somebody. It's great. I love that game. It's the best party game I've ever played. But
I have to have friends to play that
Distress.
now.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have friends, it hurts my yeah. Distress is long-term stress. It's the calmer, more quiet stress where you're in an elevated state, but you're not in that panic and you're not actually relaxed.
So all
That-
my 31 years of living. Got
Correct.
it.
Yes. That stress, distress, it actually slowly stretches your veins out. It stretches your cardiovascular system and wears out your organs. It's really, really bad. And that's why a lot of people don't know this. But more aggressive athletes of exceptionally aggressive sports like football, everybody focuses on the concussions, but nobody focuses on how excellent it is for your heart health. Because it is periods of relative calm with periods of exceptional body annihilating violence. And it gives you that extreme cardiovascular eustress without having you be in a constant state of activity.
So what I've gathered from this is Sea of Thieves has taken years off my life.
Are you stressed out for super long periods of time or for
The
or
whole
for short,
time.
horrible
I
periods?
have ran from somebody for 2 hours before.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's when it's longer.
Okay.
Uh,
So 2 hours 1 minute. That's too long.
all right.
Violence.
All right. I see we're getting into the smart ass period of the explanation. No. But what a lot of people don't know is how often runners, lifelong long distance runners, how often they die of heart attacks. And
because
because
they're running and running is
they're
terrible.
spending a very long time
So did
at a
Forrest Gump
slightly
die of a heart
elevated
attack?
blood pressure. And that's
Mhm.
really awful for your body. Sprinters are stupidly healthy, but long distance runners die of heart attacks at a disproportionate amount to other people.
Well, us dwarves are natural
Yeah, I
sprinters.
know.
Very dangerous in short
Dwarves
distances.
are
Rocket stone.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's why I like horror games like Alien Isolation, where you sit down and you're generally pretty calm. There's some good stuff going on. You're not necessarily stressed out. I like being a troll whenever I'm playing horror games.
Well,
But then the alien comes
like
out and you
like I
spend 10
said,
minutes shitting your pants.
I play on the highest difficulty of everything. So my heart, like if you're playing Alien Isolation with the headphones on Nightmare, yeah, your heart's not stopping once the entire time you're playing.
Yeah.
So then I wonder what it's going to be like.
Don't do it. It's a
with,
mistake.
It's not. You immediately
it's
like,
not-
hey, it's really fun, but it's like cocaine bender fun. It's not good for you. It's not good.
I'm an adrenaline junkie, so that's when I'm like, oh, I love this, and then like you don't get a working scanner, so your scanner's broken. So fuck if I'm going to use that. You hear things like you're hissing. There's a hiss, and you're like, what was that? and then you're just like you're gonna die in real life. Like it's just if you're not into that, don't do it. Just don't.
So then I got to ask, are you going to get into A Quiet Place?
I've heard decent things about it. I don't know if I'm gonna do it because I'm not.
Wait, they're
I'm
gonna
not
make a game?
horror- Yeah, they have a game coming out.
I've already
Yeah.
purchased it.
It's already out.
I'm not a big horror game player. I really am not.
Oh,
I'm a bigger Alien fan than I am a horror game player, and that's why
Based.
I played Alien
Fair.
Isolation.
Based.
Because I have Aliens Fire Team, I have Aliens Dark Descent, I have Alien Isolation, I have Colonial Marines, I have AVP. Like I like the universe, and I'm a big 80s universe guy. Like I have I have a Terminator game. Yeah. I have a Terminator game because I'm big into like Terminator. I have the RoboCop game because I love classic RoboCop. I have all the Star Wars games, like things from that era.
You would
I
never
find
have a
nostalgic.
Star Wars anything. Just saying.
He's you just activated like
You don't even
I have
watch Star Wars.
I have 106 Star Wars sets. I have all the lore books over there with all the diagram. Don't
Never
please
watched a
don't get me
single
started.
episode.
He didn't even know what the
Panda.
null was.
Panda, I like you. Don't make me get Gregory on this.
He's pulling out the gray Jedi
Oh, what's he
tactics right
gonna
now.
do?
He's gonna side with me. It's
No,
Star
what am I gonna
Wars.
What
I
Star
know.
Wars joke am I going to make that's going to alienate half the audience and make 5 people love me? What am I going to say? Darth Nihilus is the only cool character in the whole series. No.
I mean, he is pretty cool.
Grand Admiral Thrawn is someone that I would love to have a beer with.
I like Darth Malgus. If we're gonna talk about any of them, Darth Malgus is a badass. He killed his own wife. He's like, "Fuck you, Twi'lek." Stab,
I feel like that's a strange immediate pro to switch to instead of cons. This guy's cool. He killed his wife. Hey, wife.
Well, here's the issue with Sith. They're all about power. Well, him having a wife, he felt made him weak, so he killed her so nobody else could.
My wife's way cooler than I am.
I mean, my wife is 4 degrees. She's way smarter than I am. I wouldn't say cooler.
4 degrees.
I wouldn't say cooler.
Babe, I love you. Don't kill me.
She's smart enough to get away with it, I'm sure.
I'm cool enough to get away with it.
Cool. But Your Honor, it was pretty based. And the guy's like,
yeah, it was. My whole man cave is nothing but either Star Wars or video games, so it's one or the two.
That reminds me. It just
easy
totally made something pop into my head. I was talking to one of my friends, and I told him that being friends with him, it feels like he's running a charisma build in real life. But he's intentionally picking the worst options in dialogue. So he's butter smooth,
Fallout,
and he knows exactly the right thing to say to skillfully and perfectly light your forehead on fire. And it is the most like, oh, I just want to beat you senseless. And then he's looking at you, laughing at you, and you're like, realize you're the punchline. So it's a perfect charisma build moment. It's the most. I love it. I love it to death.
Well, we have spent an hour just talking about random bullshit and food. Let's actually get into the topic of the show. And the topic of the show is actually talking about us and what we feel is our comfort food video games. And what I mean by that are the video games that we go back to play because they make us feel good, or the games that we find most comforting to play, or the game that we just sit down because it just vibes with us for some reason. Like, we all have that game that's permanently installed on our console that we keep going back to, like Liam's Terraria.
Actually, it's the Surge.
Oh, I know the Surge is yours.
I don't play Terraria anymore, actually.
Oh, no? Lost that addiction, went for another one?
They abandoned Chekhov's gun and ruined the game, and it hurts my feelers.
Oh, that sucks. But let's start with Liam, because it looks like Panda has to think about it. What is your comfort game? Your comfort food game? I know you said the Surge, but are there any others?
So we got the Surge. We got the Surge. There's also
the Surge, I'm assuming.
There's also Warframe. I have been bulldozing Warframe recently. And it bulldozes me back. So that's,
Now why is it that you consider these your comfort food games?
Because they have how do I contort my brain into a way that I
that's
can
the thing.
it?
I love mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is my comfort food, but it's not everybody's. My wife loves mashed potatoes like a weirdo.
If you don't like mac and cheese, I
mean, actually, that's not true. She likes mac and cheese too, but like she can eat potatoes in any form, and I don't understand that.
I love the Surge for several reasons, and in retrospect, many of those reasons are very likely connected to me being on the spectrum. But in a lot of games, there are drop chances. In a lot of games, there are probabilities of things. And in the Surge, the chances that you have of dropping something or having something be dropped for you depend entirely on your skill and input and not on random numbers. So if an enemy has an item that you want and you cut that item off of the enemy, you get it 100% of the time. There is no drop chance. There is no rare thing. There's little sort of inconsequential ones, but anything in the game that actually matters is 100% consistent and skill based. And so in playing it, I am able to fully detach from any fear of like wasting time grinding for things, because I don't have to grind for things. If I know what I'm doing and I practice and I know how to use the weapons and tools at my disposal, I can annihilate the entire game in 5 hours. And it's a Souls-like. It's a Souls-like title that I can crush, like very, very high % completion rate. 5 hours, easy. And it never tires me out because it's just a really, really fun mental exercise of practice. It's there's cool enemies, there's flashy lights, there's fun dialogue, there's a cool setting, and there's all kinds of really exciting ways to chop off people's limbs and tear body parts all over the place, but we're not going to talk about that.
That killed my ears.
What else kills the bad guys? But I love the Surge because it sort of tickles that back of the brain. I want to rip stuff up, but it also really, really works out the discipline and the practice of timing and knowing how to master a game. And I just love it. That's why it's my biggest one.
And how about you, Panda? What do you got? Because I like the Surge too, but I don't get the same feeling from the Surge that he does. I just like to kill shit, and that makes me feel good.
So, the only game I can say I've never like uninstalled and reinstalled is Overwatch.
Okay.
And that one, I feel like that one for me is the only one that really got me into shooter games in general. As weird as that sounds, but growing up, I only ever played Fable. Like ever. I grew up in a house of 5 boys. Well, 4 of them can like closely, and so like I never really got to play video games. I got to see video games played a lot. Dabbled with Halo here and there, but Fable is definitely. That's why we've talked about this before with how Fable Anniversary threw in so much just trash into it.
I mean,
I blame it on the tism because I will blame it on the tism because I went into Fable Anniversary thinking like, oh, it's just gonna be exactly the same, and it's not. Even like a little bit.
They did a lot of quality of life improvements.
Yeah, but
just keep saying what you're saying because I'll get into my comfort food here in a second.
Like I'm struggling to finish it. But Overwatch is one that I haven't gotten rid of because I don't know. It's probably just the cuteness for me mostly. But then, so yeah, for me it would go Fable, Overwatch, Stardew. Ever since Greg got me Stardew, that's like my my sit down and just it's the noises. I even had a guy that I was doing a haircut on ask me, he's like, you know, the way that you're talking about Stardew kind of makes me wonder. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, no, that's really offensive. I'm like, if you're wondering if I'm on autism, I am definitely autistic. And he goes,
definitely not what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. He's like, oh,
you're talking. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was doing a bunch of like screening online tests for autism, and I scored dramatically higher than I thought I was going to on test after test after test, and I was like, "What?" And I told my wife.
No way.
I told my wife, and she started making fun of me for even bothering to take the tests because everybody in my whole life knows, yeah, dude, Liam, that guy's there. We do not need anybody to tell us.
The spectrum here.
Yeah, that dude. It was really, really funny.
My sister just got her results back, and I thought that was hilarious. Because she's like,
I
it's the
think
only
everybody's
test
a
I've
little
ever
on the
had a high
spectrum, right?
score in. I mean, yeah, but like,
It
me and
depends
my
on
sister both.
how far onto it you are.
Yeah.
From a
I think
from a
mine was
neurobiological
170 something.
from a neurobiological perspective and like psychology, I
Mm-hmm.
really think that the entire concept of autism, beware, this is another super hot take. The entire concept of autism is a result of a society that has completely lost touch with reality. Because you know what autism generally is? When someone doesn't act, finger quotes, normal.
It's
And I think a
yeah.
huge problem
There's
is that
particular.
it's actually less normal to be finger quotes normal than it is to be different than that normal.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
just
so,
think they had to add a name to something that they
yeah,
couldn't name.
and it's like,
That's what it is.
you know what everybody's called me my whole life?
Yeah.
A weirdo. I don't need to know what kind of weirdo I am. I just
I
need to
thought they
know
called
like
you
what works
Liam.
and what. Dude, they don't. They don't call me that. I wish they did.
That's right.
Usually it's
That's right.
hey idiot, but
It's all right, buddy. I'll call you Liam.
call me Liam. Call me
I'll
Liam.
be your friend. I'll be your friend.
But the thing is, understanding the way the human brain works requires understanding that it does not work the same for two identical
Two people.
twins, let alone
Oh yeah.
two different people. It
Well,
works pretty
that's-
similar for identical twins, but it's like, you know,
I think it depends on what you gravitate to as well. Because
Trains. checkmate.
That's a touchy subject. For those of you for those of you that don't know, I am a train conductor. I work on trains for a living. I'm a grown man that gets paid to play with trains.
Hell yeah, dude.
But
You're
I-
living the
I-
autistic brain.
yeah, exactly. No, I think my autism more stems on the fact that I have once I get something in my head, I have to pursue it or else I'm gonna go mental. And that's kind of how I started this podcast, because it has been in my head for 4 years. It really has. And it's
Wow.
all I've like thought about and how I could start it, how I can get it going, and finding the right people to do it. And actually I happened by chance with Liam, and I'm very grateful for him. And if Panda wants to keep coming onto this, I'd be very grateful for her too, because I'm not going to argue. Like this is so now I have accomplished this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to keep it
Oh,
going
yeah.
is going to be great as well. The Lego sets, that's my need to fulfill a collection, like to collect something. My video
That's
games,
your,
that's the need.
Pokemon.
your
I
penguin
hope
pebble.
You're aware.
Yeah, I'm speaking of Pokemon. I've been playing Shining Pearl again. I've played every Pokemon game since Red version, and Pokemon is the product of somebody with autism, by the way. And video
Oh,
games,
yeah.
like that's my need,
Surprising literally nobody.
that's my desire to progress in something. Oh yeah, the story about Pokemon is this autistic gentleman in Japan wanted to create a game where you collected something because he was big into bug collecting when he was growing up. And that's how the
I'm
idea
sorry,
of
he's big
Pokemon
into
came
what?
to be. Bug
What did
collecting.
you repeat that?
Insects. Bug collecting.
Thank you. I did not
You
hear
know-
bug.
Butt collecting. I mean, I like butts. I'd collect those.
Collect both.
You collect both? Bugs and
Yes.
butts? Bug
Bug.
butts.
Bugs and
Bug
butts.
But anyways,
Bug-
I feel so incredibly
Bug-
called out for autistic bug collecting.
Listen, to each their own. I'm not going to muck on your yum. You got any cool bugs?
I've picked up so many bugs in my life.
Yeah, any cool-
I have like
That is the most like.
Ahab and the white whale. I have a Moby Dick bug that scares me and I hate it. Like
A Hercules beetle?
no, it's called the Ichneumon wasp.
What
And
the fuck is that?
It is
Is that the killer wasp?
it is the worst thing I've ever been stung by in my life.
Ugh.
And it looks to a retarded child, it looks exactly the same as a mosquito eater. So I'm always running around picking up mosquito eaters and throwing them into Black Widow webs to watch the Black Widow eat the mosquito eater, We're not going to talk about the serial killer hints that are there, but we'll just move on.
I mean, you are autistic. Most
I am
serial
big
killers are on the
autistic.
spectrum, I think, right?
Yeah, dude, I got that Jeffrey Dahmer for bees thing going on.
It's a good thing I
Anyways,
live on the East Coast.
regardless, it was fitting that one of my intended victims happened to be an ichneumon wasp. And I was like, hey, I'm going to pick up that bug. And that bug picked me up.
Oh.
Because I think I might have been 4. I might have been 4 or 5.
He's like, I'm gonna teach you today.
Yeah, no. I try to pick it up.
Stab.
And what not a lot of people know is that ichneumon wasps are an endoparasitoid species. And
what?
That's a lot of big words for somebody that doesn't know a lot of them.
So I'll put it real simple. They based the chest bursters from Alien on ichneumon wasps.
That makes sense. They burst through their victims.
Their stingers are ovipositors. And what they do is they'll sting a caterpillar and inject an egg and leave. And the caterpillar barely even knows what's gone on. And it does exactly the same thing in real life to a caterpillar as a chest burster does to a person in the movies.
Not a tapatilla.
Yes.
No.
The caterpillar. But
tapatilla.
When 4.5-year-old dumbass Liam decides to pick up an ichneumon wasp, I was going tip of thumb to xenomorph tail with an ichneumon wasp, and I had no idea I was about to experience one of the most seared into my memory moments in my entire childhood. And so,
is this where the trauma started?
No, that was.
I mean, mine started with my mother.
Holy crap! You accidentally triggered a 1,000-yard stare. That was hilarious. Actually, that's really funny. This is where the trauma started, and I actually zoomed in on exactly where I was like, "Man, wow!" It was in the same playground too. Anyways,
this is why you need a camera, Liam.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, no, the audience would see me just totally go to Vietnam really quick for a second there. Anyways, ichneumon flies, wasps are my bug collecting Moby Dick, so we can go back to Pokemon. So we can.
I'm actually gonna go into my comfort food games, and one of them is actually the the Fable series. Once a year, I always go through the Fable series, and the reason why I say you're missing out is because when Fable came out, it had DLC, and at the time they were called expansion packs. It had expansion packs called the Lost Chapters, and they brought it all and made it all into one with the anniversary edition and updated. You don't like that? That's what the platinum hits were for games back then. Was it came with everything? Like Fallout 3, the platinum hits had all the DLC. That's what the platinum hits were. Was they finally released the game again to milk the market and get everything on one disc for people,
right?
And so when they did the anniversary edition, because I think they had a Fable platinum hits version, they remastered and re-released Fable for the 360 with the anniversary edition, and kind of brought it up to standards for the time. I can understand why you don't like it, because you grew up with base vanilla Fable, which I did too. I played so much of the Fable game that when they added everything, I felt like I was being treated to what I was missing.
See, so for me with gaming, it was like OG Xbox. Okay, minus the N64, but OG Xbox, that's literally all I played was Fable. Over and over and over and over again. And then on the 360, it was Modern Warfare 2 and 3. But I didn't really play it.
Yeah,
I just dated people that played. And then I got the 360 when I was pregnant. I actually got it the day that the night before the Xbox One was coming out. Okay. So I've always been behind.
Yeah.
So maybe if you get your Series X now, you'll only be a year behind the new one.
I know.
Instead of a day.
I know. But then when I got my 360, all I played was Skyrim. That's all I
Mhm.
played. And again, just over and over and over and over. And then I got married to Ammon, and he was more of the gamer. It was like I would get home from work. He's like, "Okay, here's the controller. Don't die. I'm gonna go get us beer." Like, huh? Like,
What?
like, yeah. Like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, so then
What do I
I
do with
got
my
my
hands?
Xbox.
Here's
Yeah.
a gun. Shoot the blue ones.
The blue one. Yeah.
What the hell?
So then, and then I got my Xbox, and that was February 2019 is when I got mine.
Hmm.
I didn't really play much. I played a lot of Overwatch with Josh. I did, oh God, what was it? Greg was playing it not too long ago. Ghost Recon,
Wildlands, Breakpoint,
Breakpoint.
Breakpoint, Breakpoint.
Played a lot of Breakpoint. And then we got divorced. And then when Greg and I started talking was when I really started playing video games. So I haven't really. So once
Been
like
in the
this whole
scene
like
very long.
no. So then once like I started playing the Fable series again, I was like, I don't like this. Because in my brain, I'm still stuck in like early 2000s. Like
What
the
I recommend
OG.
doing is if you go back to replay it, try playing it in the perspective of a new player. Like don't go back expecting nostalgia because you're not going to get it.
I know.
You know what I mean? And but the reason why it's my comfort game is it's because it is a world that is so uniquely crafted that it's one I want to be in.
Yes. That one, I agree with that.
Like it is the peak for the Fable series, I think, is Fable 2. Fable 2 is the best. It took the
I love
systems from the
Fable
first
2.
one and amplified them and made them better. Fable 3 felt like it was a time constraint. Like it felt like you were against the clock, and I don't like feeling unnecessary pressure.
Seeing when Greg
Pikmin
and I,
1,
because Greg and I
Pikmin 1 on
played Fable
blast.
3 together.
Like you
Yeah.
can play Fable 3 at your own pace, but the story, like the narrative, does not make you feel that way.
No,
You know what I
it
mean?
didn't. Yeah, that's how I felt when Greg and I were playing it together because it was like, okay, like, oh, we got to go do this, we got to go, and then it was like, done.
But the issue being is the whole universe, the whole Fable universe is one that I go back to at least once a year. And I'm actually thinking about going back to replay it here soon because I haven't done it yet this year. And it's because of all these new games I've been trying to get into, like Dragon Age, like I said, is coming out at the end of the month. It might be the last purchase I make for this year because Avowed's not coming out this year. And Avowed was the only other fantasy game I was really looking forward to.
See, I don't even know what that one is.
It's by Obsidian, the guys that did Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds. And The Outer Worlds is arguably one of my favorite games as well. But Fable is the Fable franchise is a comfort food of mine. The Pokemon franchise is a comfort food of mine because I still go back. Like I said, I'm replaying something right now, and it's because I'm looking for that nostalgia hit. Because the one I'm playing right now, the original version came out when I was in high school, somewhere in there. And that's what, 15, almost 20 years at this point.
I've never played Fable.
Oh, you're missing out, buddy.
You guys can't see my face, which is hilarious because I'm looking at my screen and I said I haven't played Fable, and you both aggroed on me immediately, and that was perfect. That was exactly what I was hoping was going to happen.
What?
I've never played Fable, and you both eyes turned red, exclamation point appears above your head. I am target one right there. That was great.
You have Game Pass, right?
You have Uno. I think, yeah, I do have Game Pass.
Game Pass is on, I think, the base tier of Fable is on the base tier of Game Pass.
Huh.
Yes.
I might have to check that out.
It is definitely worth a playthrough because it was actually one of the first games I remember, other than KOTOR. So
if I can take the Warframe tourniquet off my arm and start playing something else,
that's the issue, is trying to get to it. It was the first game that I remembered where your decisions within the story mattered. because
that's one thing
it
I really
changed.
like. Your alignment
Mhm.
is
Dying Light 2
Because
has been
if you were
that.
evil, you would grow horns and you would start to have flies surrounding you, and
And then you have-
like your complexion got zits and stuff. And if you were a good guy, you would have a halo and you'd have butterflies floating around your face,
what I
and
love
it would
the
make your hair
most.
white.
What I love the most with it is your tattoos. So if you have tattoos on your
Mm.
character, when you're good, it's like bright, like shining white. Like I love
Yeah,
it.
they like got white, and then when you were evil, it got darker, and
Dark,
that's
yeah.
part of the reason why I like the game as well. And it is one of the first games I know of, other than like Leisure Suit Larry, but I wasn't allowed to play that at the time. Was
I'm not allowed
that
to
you
play
could
that
get
now.
the hell? I'm not. I own
No, I
them
said
all.
I'm not allowed to. You can.
Oh, you're not. Oh yeah. Well, maybe when you hit puberty, Liam.
Maybe when I
Um,
finally grow up. Dude, I
Well,
shaved that beard off. I
boy.
feel like
you're that one of those kind of people, right?
I have the longest neck. I have the longest neck. I wish I had a
Liam the
camera that
giraffe.
worked right now. Dude, it's ridiculous.
The Fable was the first game I played where you could have sex and get married.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like that's why
That
it's
is
like it
such a
struck a
boy
chord.
thing to say.
Well,
They killed Shinzo
Oh
Abe for
my
encouraging
look,
that.
do you see me minus the colorful hoodie? Like, don't not look at the hoodie.
I can also confirm I am also a boy.
I mean, girls think about sex too.
I just think of
No,
one
but-
particular person, but we won't go into that.
As far as like memories go, like this is a new thing to me. It stands out, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
And Fable was one of those games that brought forward a play style in RPGs that people tried to emulate.
Yeah.
Because have you ever played Kingdom of Amalur: The Reckoning?
Negative.
No.
Negative Ghostwriter.
Oh, we're ending the stream right now.
You know what? You butt crack. No.
What
No,
did I
King
just
of-
explain to you? Hold up. What did I just explain?
Kingdom
I'm a
of Amalur: The Reckoning. Yeah, I know. Kingdom of Amalur: The Reckoning. Despite its controversy, they just like released it for the modern consoles. They re-released it, revamped it, and added like a DLC that was originally intended for it. And it was one of the closest Fable-like games as far as combat and play style that has come out that made me want to go back and replay Fable just for the world. And they both are unique. Like the Kingdom of Amalur had a writer that is very like notorious in the fantasy genre space.
Right.
Like Salvatore or something. I can't remember. And it's just really well written. And like the original intent was it was supposed to be an MMO. The world is massive. And the reason why is because, like I said, it was supposed to be an MMO. But it didn't. It didn't get that far. They released it as a single player game, and there are hundreds of gameplay hours in that game. Like Fable, I can beat in a day if I'm really like into
Really
it. I can beat the anniversary edition in a day with everything, all the DLC, everything.
Hell yes.
But Kingdom of Amalur, yeah, I may get a few missions done in a day.
That's cool. I like when games can engage you for a long time.
And it's definitely one of those I would recommend for those of you that are listening. Kingdom of Amalur: The Reckoning, or it's actually called The Re-Reckoning now. Because
that's hilarious.
If I go into my console and I look at my library of like 700 plus games, I have the 360 version next to the Re-Reckoning.
Awesome.
In my catalog.
Wild. So, okay, that's what it was that triggered the thought, was playing Fable Anniversary lately. I loathe the lack of locking on to an enemy to kill them. I have struggled so much while I've been playing it. Like when I go
Lock-ons.
like stream it, it drives me.
That doesn't make sense because you can.
You can, but it's not as good as I remember it being.
You mean it's not as sticky as it was?
Yes.
You have to think about the constraints of the Xbox at the time.
I mean,
Like it
That's
it-
crap.
It clicked
Dark
for a
Souls 1
reason.
you can lock on and it's like super glue. It's like JB welded
Yeah.
super glue.
yeah.
That's nonsense.
Liam, we're not
It
talking
is
about Dark
not.
Souls. Chill out.
Calm down. Don't
As
yell
soon
at me.
as,
I'm
soon as
just a
anybody
baby.
Calm
mentions
down.
lock on,
I-
I'm like
Ah.
totally locked in.
I felt the click of autism from here.
Dude. The sound of a gun cocking when it's got
Yeah,
crayons in it.
I was like, oh, I know where that's coming from. But I like my comfort food games are the worlds I want to be in,
Yeah.
and that's really what it is, and that's why I keep going back to Bethesda games because the entire Bethesda catalog is a comfort food to me.
What fictional
And I
world
don't,
do I wanna be in?
and I don't play Bethesda games like most people. I have the difficulty cranked up to 11. Like in Skyrim, I play on Legendary, where you have to eat, you have to sleep. The only time you can save is sleeping. Fallout is the same way. On Survival, I have to eat, I have to sleep. If I die, guess what? I'm back in where I was 7 hours ago if I didn't sleep.
Yeah, but I don't eat or sleep in real life. So when I'm talking about a game, it's hard to.
Oh, so you're good. You got this.
Yeah.
I can't manage that shit at all.
In Starfield, I'm playing at the highest difficulties, and
Is Fallout
I'm
going to teach me how to eat?
just stomping.
I mean, maybe.
It's gonna
Perhaps.
teach you how to eat a rad roach.
Hey man, eating
You like
bugs is not a
bugs?
problem
You
for
like
me.
bugs?
Eating bugs is not a problem for me.
That's so mean.
Everybody talks about eating shrimp and crab, but when I point out that a centipede is almost the same thing, everybody loses their minds.
Bro, they're just crunchy worms. That's all.
It is a centipede. All right, Panda. Now I know what button to push to freak you out.
No.
What bug to push?
Bugs. What bug to push? I got Panda bugging. Ah!
Nah, she's feeling a little squirmy to me.
Squeamish. What? So I've thought about like comfort food
Pee my
games.
pants.
Good. Do it like a real gamer.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Peter-
In the bucket in the corner.
Peter Pan's like a real gamer. In a bucket in the corner.
Actually.
That's not funny because I've thought about
That makes it even better.
my man cave is in the basement. I have to go
The
up a flight
worst-
of stairs
The
to go to
worst
the
mental
bathroom.
image. He makes a joke and then he starts digging a grave to get in the middle of a stream. Let's go.
I have thought about getting those piss jugs.
What have I?
They look
What is
they look
a
useful.
what is a similarly nonsensical thing that I've done? Other than setting up a mirror so that I could. Are you going to tell everybody that, Liam? Are you going to tell everybody that story, Liam? I think I might. I figured out that in a lot of games that you cannot pause, that your squad still needs you. When the boys need you in an hour-long mission and you can't pause it, at least once in my life have I set up the mirrors so that I can run really quick and go pee while still playing and then run back.
I
love
don't even
that
do
for
that.
you.
I just put down the controller and I leave the mic on.
No. I'm carrying the
I want
team.
them to hear
Dude,
what I'm doing.
All of
Oh
you.
no, I do that
do.
too. I leave the
I'm
mic
all-
on.
All of
I'm
you do.
I'm always carrying the team. Why do you think I can step away and let them catch
Panda's
up on the
all
kill
upset.
streaks?
Is
The-
it is
the
it
amount of
really a
time I've had to
victory if you
hear
don't
you
hear
guys
piss? Are you really winning the match if you don't audibly piss on the enemy in the death mic? Is that not like
That's a power move. That's what we
this
call
might be a
power
boy
move.
thing?
Oh my god.
This might be a boy thing.
I think
but-
it is because I'm over here like no, I don't. It took me like a solid year to like not mute myself on the phone with Greg while I'm going to the bathroom.
Hell no. Hell no. If you
So-
get to that leaderboard screen, You get to that
I have
leaderboard screen and
kids.
you're the
doors
MVP.
usually open now.
If you,
Yeah, no, it's
if you get to that leaderboard screen and you're the MVP, and as soon as that leaderboard screen opens up, everybody in the whole lobby hears the person with the best KD ratio in the
Yup.
lobby.
just peeing.
It is the greatest insult to a person that you can possibly
Boiling
have
chicken
happen.
and dropping logs.
No,
just
I
that
draw a line
stream
there. I
hitting
don't-
the bottom of the bucket.
I go number one. I'm not doing that other thing. That's sacred. The
Uh.
gamers don't get to know about that one.
That's not true. I game while I'm taking the
That's
shit. I bring the
disgusting.
Steam Deck in with
All
me.
right, this is
Oh my
my
God,
version
that
of
is
the
different.
bugs. This is where Liam starts freaking out.
My Game Boy? Oh, it's coming in, baby. I'm gonna be there a while.
No,
I'm gonna catch a Mewtwo.
I'm meditating while I'm doing that. I'm floating 4 inches above it, hovering like
Meditating. That
yeah.
makes me want to fall asleep, and I've done
I
that.
hover magically.
It's not fun. You wake up. Why am I in 4 walls?
I'm too autistic.
didn't
to be
realize
bothered
you're
by
still at
waking up in a
work?
little room. I'm way too autistic to be bothered by waking up in a cubicle.
I'm not talking about a cubicle. I'm talking about a stall.
A stall? You
God.
don't sleep in a stall in public? You're an animal.
At work.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
probably before I realized I was diabetic, guys, and my blood sugar was low.
Okay, so it's not a gamer move, it's a dying move. We got it. We're gonna
It's just a.
It wasn't
You hear a flush and you're like, where am I?
It was,
Or the guy's knocking on the stall next to you. Hey, buddy, you're snoring.
hey, are you alive? And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What? Actually, no, I'm not. Thank you.
Can you pass
Oh
me the
my
toilet paper?
Bro, I need to
God.
obtain a Ritz cracker or a lollipop or something as fast as possible, or I'm gonna die right now.
I keep snacks with me now. Like I bring a lunchbox to work. It's filled with like just jerky and drinks and
Nah, dude,
mac and cheese bowls. It's great.
I'm hypoglycemic and stupid, so I have
Oh, you're the
this-
opposite end of the
No,
spectrum.
dude,
you
I
have.
Oh my gosh. One of the best
I can't
ways-
process sugar. You don't have enough of it.
No, I don't have nearly enough sugar. Give me some sugar, baby. No. My-
Jesus Christ.
That's why, like, I have to snack constantly. Like, must snack constantly on like popcorn and chips and stuff. If I can't get like a near constant supply of carbs, I literally like Superman near kryptonite start to just fall over.
You know, that's me and coffee.
You and coffee.
People always ask me how much coffee I drink, and I'm like, how much do you want to know about?
We're talking about fart humor. Coffee makes me shit my pants immediately as soon as I drink it.
It helps keep me regular. I'll tell you that.
No,
But
no.
As far as like
No, I'm
caffeine
talking. I
goes,
can't drink coffee because I like it's too much. It's not like we're talking tea.
You don't
good.
even need to be
Tea's great.
caffeinated.
I drink
I do need-
drink coffee all day, like iced coffee in my hand at 5 o'clock in the morning and negative 60 degrees outside. Yeah, that's me.
Iced coffee. What are you, serial killer? What are you talking about? Iced coffee at negative 60 degrees.
I mean, haven't we said that we're all on the spectrum somewhere?
That's fair.
So for me,
Helps
I
me dig the
can't
graves
have-
faster.
Helps me dig the. I can't. You dig holes for them?
So I can't drink
Just the
more
ones
than
I didn't like.
250 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's where I'm at.
250 milligrams?
250 milligrams of caffeine a day, or I will literally just.
That's it?
That's it. So I made
That's
the
1
mistake.
can
once-
Celsius.
Yep.
I drink at least 2 or 3 of those a day, and that's
Must
not
be
including the
nuts.
coffee.
Caffeine is
So-
straight poisonous to me.
I have like little packets that I put in my water that has 500 milligrams of caffeine, and I drink
Yeah, that
maybe
would
1 or
put me
2
to
of those
sleep.
at work.
That would put me to sleep.
I drank a Celsius before this, and I'm tired.
Shut
Yeah,
up. Shut up. No. Okay. So I have this really funny. I have an analogy that's really perfect for how I interact with caffeine, and I love it because it's really funny, and it's basically like, what the hell is it called? The Achilles heel. Caffeine is very much an Achilles heel for me.
Mhm.
Do you know how octopus tentacles sink, or how their nervous system works?
No.
Kind of.
I'm
Okay.
not that side of autism.
Each brain. All right, I am absolutely that kind. Each
Okay.
of an octopus's tentacles has more brain tissue in it than the octopus's actual brain. So the actual brain of the octopus basically goes, "Oh, a crab," and the arms figure out how to get to the crab and obtain it. And so all an octopus's brain really does is it just kind of acknowledges things and it goes, "Is it a fish?" And the arms receive that information and make decisions based on it. It's really cool because an octopus will figure things out with one tentacle while it's totally focusing on something else. And it's an extremely entertaining thing to watch. My brain works exactly like that. I have several attention spans simultaneously on different topics, and generally they're very connected. Generally they get along very well. If I have one drop of caffeine in my system, the central brain turns off and all the arm tentacles go off in different directions and start doing different things. It's if I have one cup of coffee or anything, if I have a little bit of caffeine, it's like they shot the squad leader and now all the soldiers are just doing whatever. And I basically just curl up in a ball and have a schizo until the caffeine wears off and then I go back to normal.
Yeah, blood
Wild.
runs in my caffeine system.
Blood runs in my caffeine.
Blood runs in my caffeine system. That's funny.
Oh my
Well, ladies
God.
and gentlemen, I hate to like cut this short, but my wife is dealing with my little kid because he decided to wake up early again. So I'm gonna go
What a
Yay.
turkey.
take him. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna end this tonight. I appreciate you, Panda and Liam, for both
Of
coming
course.
tonight. We will set up again for another time. I am the GigaGamerDad. You can find me on Discord, YouTube, Twitter, or anywhere else you want to look for me. I do play on Xbox. Hit me up. Panda, where can people find you?
Oh God, where am I? Let's see. Yeah, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all DCtheTrashPanda.
Beautiful,
Awesome.
beautiful. And Liam, I don't know if you want
I
people
have
finding you or
it's
not.
hilarious. I have a YouTube channel. I have one video, and the video is about me not having any videos on my YouTube channel. So
Attaboy.
it's called Liam Patton. Do whatever the hell you will with it.
All righty,
I might
ladies and
upload, I
gentlemen.
might not.
Let's cut this short. This was episode 3, our comfort food video. We appreciate you all coming out here. We hope you all have a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Giga Geeks podcast. Ciao.